three things that I would like to put on today about being uncommon. And the whole idea being of communities, leadership, and roles communities play without being front faces, and what is backstage leadership and understanding mean. I will take you to a place which you can see on your screens is at 50 degrees Celsius, summers 2 degrees, winters 100 rainfall, and lesser is what I will take you through today. This is a place which is the heart of the Thar desert. It is a wonderful place to live in. Don't think 50 degrees means it's not conducive, it's horrible, it's so hot. It's essential for this earth to survive. And as I call it, Srishti is the core of our planet through which in the 4.2 billion years evolution, we are the youngest and the minutest. And so we should not forget that it is not we human beings through which the world lives, it is through the world that we live and we survive. And we are today in that stage where what we are calling development, what we are calling the understanding of what cultures are, heritages, history is a little warped. And as humans, we always feel that we are the ones who are the most important, utmost on this planet. Yes, we are important in the larger scheme of things, but we are not the only species who is the most important. We can play an amazing role in strengthening our dharohar, as I call it in Hindi, which is in terms of building our cultures, our heritage in a more strengthened, egalitarian manner with an equitable understanding and distribution of resources and building on from there on. And so I would keep changing slides to put across of how communities have been playing this role, a minute one, if we may call it, in the larger 4.2 billion year evolution, but which also makes a difference. Every human being makes a difference. It's not that if there are 1.4 billion human beings, it's not that I make a difference and you don't make a difference. Every human being makes a difference is from the point of view that I take on and start to live my life since I was 17. And in the last 30 years, I have come to the stage that at the end, it is individual leadership and community leadership that enhances our societies, gives us the dream, gives us the understanding of how do we build our resources without being dependent on just an A system, which is the government. And so the whole question of dependency syndrome not being there, but building your own strengths, building your own understanding, your own resources, and living through that. This slide will tell you with the pole that you see. I wanted to put this picture on because it is of a stone. It is a fossilized stone, which is more than 120 million years old. And this is got on the top of the surface only in 2 villages. This is not mined, this is not got from the ground. It's called the Habur limestone. The Habur limestone is from which all wells, and artesian wells especially, more than 100 in the core of the Thar desert, are made. And so people carried these rocks and slates around 100 kilometers in a diameter to make the well. Now understand that that well is 700 years old. And so here comes the whole understanding of aging and how it is very important that that is a life source for the community and for it to live through the economics of livestock. Now a particular stone is taken on camelbacks 100 kilometers. It's not a joke. It's not just done like that. It's not just done that they need to some show off to anybody to say that this well is made out of some marble limestone which is got from some 100 kilometers. No, because this gels with that water and this creates an impact on that water, and so this is the rock which is used and this is the stone which comes from there. Now there are numerous such examples of how systems will be strengthened, built, of how communities will take the leadership, will take the ownership, and which is very important today. I am just showing some examples as a clerk standing here that I can just put it on to a screen, put it on in a particular way, but it is the people at the end who run the show. It is the people and the community who lead these processes. And there have been places where people have migrated 80% and have come back in total. This is one of the communities where people migrated, around 82% migrated because these fell in disuse. Also, we as communities take things for granted at times, and this for granted brings us to a point where we ourselves lose our own understanding, our own balance, and nature at a stage brings us back to reality. And this is where women started to work and come to a point where they revived 400 of such systems, and then it is of various ways of transporting the resource. And you are looking at a picture which is the least rainfall area of this country, 75 mm annual average. At 75 mm annual average, if you are in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Coimbatore, you are putting on a shower and you are having a shower through a shower and you are done with 75 mm annual average rainfall. That falls in one region of this country. This place has water which lasts it for 4 years without a single drop falling today. Not a single drop falls. This water is what it lasts. I will come to slides later which will tell you of how the system happens. But the whole idea being that they know how real conservation, real balanced consumption of a resource is what is done. A system in the periphery of the Thar desert where communities have been living since thousands of years, again catch it through large catchments. As you can see, outer peripheries are what catchments are, and these catchments where there is one rainfall, because desert ecologies have one single rainfall, they don't have rainy days, they only have rainy minutes. This is how they catch water and use it for the next 365 days, because it's not that you are again going to get the rains. Discipline. Discipline is very, very important in a community which strengthens itself and builds on from an understanding that it has to live every day with that pride, dignity, and respect. And which are the three things which are very essential for a community and for a leadership to be strengthened and put across. And I, many a times, when speaking in cities, put this on, that this is also an idea if we understand about discipline. Half of us standing in queues to board a flight with a boarding pass in your pocket, and for sure that you're going to get onto a flight, are also pushing, jumping and trying to get over each other's head, that I will be the first one to get on and I have to be the first one sitting in row 18 to get out and go ahead. And so sometimes these are lessons that we need to learn as human beings from the larger community and systems. Women play a very, very important role in this whole understanding and this whole situation of how communities as leaders will make India. I'm coming to the point of nation building now, where I feel nation building is not about male or female. Nation building is about human beings. Nation building is about communities. We also sitting here are part of communities, yeah, but it is women who play a more important, a more strengthened role at times which need to be understood and addressed. It is also that they understand more and know of how systems will be in place in an adaptable situation in the next 100 years. I will put that sentence that in a more better perspective than men after a point can understand. And it has been in my 30 years of experience, where I work with almost more than 1 million people today in this country, some countries abroad, where I have come to this stage where I feel that it is women leadership which will strengthen and nurture the understanding as a nation more than what males after a point can do. And this needs to come out very strongly in forums, in larger systems, where this needs to be addressed today. N number of systems, structures across the Thar Desert, as I said, from 100 millimeter annual average rainfall to 70 mm annual average rainfall. 10-year drought is a very common situation here from where I am showing you. It's a very common situation. Maharashtra says if it doesn't grow sugarcane, it is drought. We say if it doesn't rain a drop from above is what is drought. And so now the whole question of politically coming to a point and saying what is drought in this country. And in the Thar Desert, people are not afraid or are not bogged down by the word drought. Drought is part of your life, and you're supposed to work through it in a way that when you have the 3, 4, 5 years of drought, you already have strengthened systems by then that they will take you through. And so it's a positive aspect and understanding that you build on. And so lake systems like these, which last 365 days, least rainfall area of this country, 50 to 75 mm annual average rainfall. I keep talking at forums and stages where I keep saying we human beings and our mindset is where the problem is. It's not at all ecology. Because it was ecology, I for sure would have never been able to show you this. And it's we who matter in our mind of whether we want to take this on as a mantle and help and build our own natural systems, our own ecologies. We want to build our places and spaces that we call homes. And there's a difference between a house and a home. And we need to understand that, and we need to strengthen on these aspects a lot. 700-year-old system today, this is what it is, 2022. 700-year-old lake systems, you have n number of them in South India. There is no dearth of it. How is it that we are going to keep them alive? How is it that we are not going to destroy them? Yes, there have been millions which have been destroyed, more in urban areas, less in rural areas. But the whole challenge being that how is it as communities we are going to take this on? We are going to be very clear amongst ourselves that these will matter for future generations. It's not about me living today. It's about coming generations which matter. And coming generations are very important if we have our cultural practices, our heritage, our life cycles in order, that they will be able to live a slightly better life, I would put it, as of today, than what is happening. I feel it is important that we build our own heritage, our own story, our conservation efforts, or what has been going on since the past 700,000 years, where communities have been living in such systems, such places, but keeping it strengthened. If you cannot build something is not a problem, but we don't have a right as human beings to destroy at least what others had built. And I feel it is very, very strongly to put it across to communities today that we are supposed to at least carry it forward, at least not come to a point where we will come onto the streets. At some stages, very sorrily, that is what is coming across, but we need to handle this in a very big way and make this move forward. Another lake system, some 550 years, 600 years old. People used to build these not just like that. They built these because they wanted to set examples of leadership. They wanted to set examples that communities are rich. Rich is not about just some money you are keeping in your pocket or you have a bank account. Rich is about the heritage and culture that you bring. Rich is about your resources that you are strengthening and working on. Rich is about coming together. Rich is not about just keeping something in your pocket. There was nothing here when I first started and lived here. 20 women came together. This was barren ground because they had to go 4.5 kilometers one way to get one pot of water from one well where their number was the last in line, because the farther the distance that you traveled and came, it was not that your number was before, it was that your number was lower down the order. And then decided to work on and build this system. And today, that's one side of it, this is the other side of it. And today they are giving water to 5 villages. And that's where their system works. And this is what is pure leadership in terms of on-ground reality. And I wanted to stress on this, that it's not just about talking, it's about doing and about putting it to people. It's about Coimbatore taking that stand, that understanding, that leadership also and building on. And when there will be such 100 Coimbatores and such 100 Ramgarh is where we as a community, we as people, we as leaders will be part of this nation building process. I take sessions with landscape architects in this country, and which is where I show them this and say, who says that this is not landscape? And who says that 300-year-old trees with a lake system, okay, and with a clear story like this is not what a landscape system and an ecology is that you can teach to your students. You don't need to build false landscapes in this country. You as it is have 1 million landscapes, and those are the ones which can be seen, built and thoroughly taken. Again, some pictures of women in their role. We grow and are proud of growing one of the best cropping systems in the desert ecologies. I say this very strongly because I have been part of it since the last 20 years, that it is a very, very proud moment to grow wheat in 75 annual average rainfall without giving a drop of water of irrigation. Punjab gives 10 waters and all the pesticide, fertilizer, urea, chemicals, DAP, everything, and still does not grow the best wheat that human beings can consume. And so it's a matter of pride at a stage where communities build their own security in terms of food, water, and that's what they need in life. They have economies, and they have economies to scale, because the best meat also comes from Western Rajasthan, which goes right from Bombay onwards into Delhi. And it covers almost this whole western breadth, and everybody who enjoys the best meat, please remember us, because we are the ones who supply it to you. And lastly, putting it that spaces are meant also to enjoy. Spaces are not only meant, places are not only meant for building and creating barbed wires or creating boundaries around them and not letting people use it. They are meant for people to use. They are meant for people to understand, to learn, to educate themselves, to build on and work for their own strengthening and the community strengthening, for people in generations coming across and their own strengthening. A place in Jodhpur, which was fully covered by muck, which was fully covered and you could not see a single step that you are seeing, was again got back, conservation, revival, and the city today uses this as a common space to come, sit, enjoy. Of course, Rajasthan being a tourist place also has millions of tourists coming across to various places, systems which they use and enjoy. This is what is the whole idea and understanding of how we should govern our own lives, take decisions about our own lives, and not to be in that fix of a dependency syndrome that is being put to us each and every day. And if we want to do it, we can do it by our own selves. We as a community are so strengthened, so educated, understanding that we can build such systems, such work experiences, and pass them on to the coming generations. Thank you very much.